Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how I made this cool little organizer for my everyday carry items, which allows me to place them on this little shelf area here without taking up a huge amount of shelves, because I want it to look nice in my room here, and without having the paracord, the lanyard sort of thing that I've attached to them so I don't lose them, because every single one of my items gets connected to my belt loops, because I'm doing sport and stuff and I don't want to lose them. So then I know that I never lose my everyday carry items. But when they're here on the shelf, which, some of them get left behind, I don't carry all of them. For example, I've got a tiny little Leatherman more for sport, and then a big Leatherman for bigger uses. So when they're here, having a bunch of these things all over the place just looks really untidy, and I'm trying to make this place look really, really nice for, it's nicer for when I'm here, but also, for when I have guests and stuff. It definitely looks nicer. And so I wanted a place to organize them, and also this allows me to keep more things, because, I want to carry a few things. By the way, this is not everyday carry. I just had a spare space. This allows me to have more things on the same shelf without it looking messy, because if I just had one of these things on this shelf, like I've got a bunch of these shelves around my room here. If I've just got one item or two items maybe, it doesn't look too untidy. But if I've got a bunch of those, it starts to look really messy. And by the way, I've got the charger of the Olight, which I'll have a link to my review of this down below. I've got the charger base built into this. For me, this is what worked with the materials I had and just the way I wanted it to look. And I could have figured out a way to plug these into the same cable. It was just easier to just glue a little battery thing at the back. These are just Christmas lights from the £1 store with, that came with a battery holder. So that was just easier, and it hides perfectly fine at the back there, so not a problem. One of the issues with something like this is that because there's a fairly small amount of space in there, there's not a huge amount of space for the paracord, so it sort of gets pushed. You have to push it in to make it go in, and the trick I found is you have to wrap it around like that, and then it's not too difficult to get it into there. But it's going to be a little bit annoying to do that constantly every time I switch between these items. See, it's not too bad, but I'm not going to want to do that every time. So I figured out the solution for when I don't need it to look very, very nice is that when I put something back, I don't, especially the small items. This one's actually pretty easy to put the paracord back in. But with small items, I could just put them at the back there, and then at least it's fairly tidy. It's not too bad, so just makes it a little easier and a little quicker to swap out items. I've left the holes a little bit bigger than I needed, so hopefully if I change or upgrade in the future, what I'll change to will be able to fit in this, but if not, then whatever. I mean, I guess I could make another one or change this one a bit. Now here's what it looks like in a dark room. The nice thing is when you take one of the items out, it leaves a beautiful glowing hole. And possibly to make this project easier, what you could do is take a small light like this that's already ready and just put it underneath it like that. So let's take a look at how it's made. So first of all here, I'm just marking where I want to make the cuts. And here I'm using a special new kind of workspace. This is the bin table. It was a Kickstarter project. As you can see, it's very, very high tech. It's basically the best workstation that anyone's ever made. So first of all here, I'm starting by drilling some pilot holes where I want to make the cuts. Then over here, I'm using the drill like an idiot. Here once again using the jigsaw like an idiot in order to make those bigger cuts. Then over here using a screwdriver like an idiot. And then once again more pilot holes. Over here I'm using a utility knife like an idiot. And of course you should absolutely be wearing eye protection if you were to do something like this, because those utility blades can snap. I'm using quite good ones here, Sheffield brand I think, which haven't snapped on me. And this was quite time consuming. I don't think I would do it again. If I were to build another one of these, I would definitely be using more power tools. Here I'm creating the base, so it's just some plexiglass or acrylic, and so I'm just using a multi-tool as a ruler and then just cutting with the utility knife. of course making sure the blades are nice and sharp, and just making a few cuts over and over until I get at least somewhat of a cut into it. And I did that on both sides, and then just snapped it using the plier. Then over here, using a cordless hot glue gun. It's not perfect, but very useful to have, and I do find it very convenient to have. So I'm just gluing on the LEDs onto the underneath of it, and I made sure to cut holes, sort of the space under there. There's enough space for the cables, you know, for the little wires and the LEDs. And then just on top of that, put the plexiglass. And then that's it. It's all sort of hot glued in place, and, you know, it's sort of basic, but it got the job done. And then lastly, just get rid of the top layer of wood, which just had this bit of a crappy colour. I'm not sure why. It's just some scrap wood, so possibly was painted at one point or something. And there it is. It's done.